All right, back on the Ranchero. Take the tailgate off the old girl today and assess a little bit of the rust issues. I just wanted to show you what I've already done to the tailgate. I've started already by taking this chrome strip off. I'll show you right there. And it's pretty straightforward. You'll see I'll pull it up and we'll have a look here. All right. So the first thing you'll have to do, we'll take this trim strip off, and this is just held on with these little clips in these little holes. So these little pinch clips go in. There's quite a few of them. I have 6 of them on there, and as you can see, there were screws on each side, 2 on each side. This trim is it's bent up pretty bad. It'll have to be straightened and polished and everything like that, but that'll get done in time. But today it's just taking the tailgate off. So anyway, you use when it sits down in these holes. If you can see that, it's not that lit anyway. They sit down in those holes. I just use one of these clips, these little clip pullers, pry bars, plastic ones. Take the screws out first, work your way under, and you can kind of look by this video with the spacing of the holes and just kind of pry up on it. All right, that's how you get that off. And then with that out of the way, oh, hang in there. With that out of the way, we'll talk about the actual tailgate, and there's an inner skin on this tailgate. But first I want to talk about this gap, because I mentioned in the other previous video on the Ranchero, that this gap with the weight on the hoist was pushing inward, but it seems to be okay now that I have it down off the hoist. So it's not completely off the hoist, but it's mostly. So there's a lot of, it's not going to collapse on me, we'll put it that way. So I'll open her up and I'll show you the inner skin of this baby. If I can get it open with that inner skin on. So I did take the inner skin off. Hold on. Inner skin is off. And I can show you, I had to, there's the screws for it. These screws here, these waffle head screws, they go on the back side of it. There's quite a number of them. I can show you. So there, you'll have a whole series of these waffle head screws. And I had to cut some with the grinder because they stripped out the heads. And the same goes for the, same goes for the little chrome ones here. Had to cut a couple of them open. That's for these holes here. Anyway, and I've been labeling bags to keep these organized because, again, we'll lose the parts. So that'll have to be fixed up. This whole inner skin is in bad shape. I don't know if you can buy these replacements or not. I really don't. But anyway, I'll see what I can do with this one. It's really taking a beating, but hey, it is what it is, and there it is. So we'll set this aside. And here's the tailgate underneath. Not much to it. These will have to be taken off. So I'll take these support cables off. I'll loosen them, and then I'll put the tailgate back up in its upward position, and then I can reach in. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's some nuts in here. Yeah, hard to see. Anyway, there's some nuts down inside on each corner for the hinges. Now the hinges can come off the body here. However, I don't know for sure whether I can get it off of the car with those hinges in place. Probably, but the hinges have to come off anyhow. So I'm going to pull the hinges off the tailgate first, and then it should lift right off because you can see how it sits in. There's an L bracket, and there's the back of the studs, and they are on studs with the nuts on them. Hopefully they aren't locked on there too bad because I really don't want to heat them. I did spray them with some of the Deep Creep beforehand. So that's the plan. So I have it on, I have the other camera set up on time lapse, and let's see how it goes. And I'll get back to you as I need to be. And you can start to see some of the rust here, but we'll go through this after I get the tailgate off. All right, check back with you in a few. So I'll update what I'm doing here. You'll be able to see now that I started those bolts, or the nuts rather, and they all seem to start okay. Also, a blob of primer, that they really did a good job of that. Also started the straps, you can see there, the whole support straps on both sides. What I ran into with the support straps was that the bit I have is not designed for this Ford style, but fortunately, with the help of the deep creep and lack of rust on them, as you can see, I'll show you in here how clean those actually are. They started quite easily, so I'm going to be able to get them off without getting, sorry about that, without getting a different bit. And I'm using, I started out with a 14 mil socket and realized, hey, I'm not working on a new vehicle. This is an older vehicle. They're actually a 9/16, and the 9/16 fits right over them perfectly. All right, back at her. Okay, I've got 2 of each side nuts off the hinges on the inside, and then I have these support straps off. They have a little guide on them to keep the strap straight, sort of like a anti-snarl thing and anti whatever they are. Anyway, they're there. So I just put the the bolts back in the tailgate for those for now. There's a washer, and there's like an indexing, it's like an inside, like a metal piece that has a, it goes into a little hole. Same on both sides. They come off very easy, no big deal. So I put the nuts back, or the bolts back in. All right, so the next step, I'll put the tailgate up, and I use my stool just to hold it. So the next step will be put the tailgate back up, take the bolts out, and remove the tailgate. Well, there it is. Tailgate is off. I'm going to go ahead and take these, or attempt to take these hinges off as well. Starting to see some rusty spots now that we can work on both sides, but we'll go through that in a moment. But I'm going to go ahead and try to take these off. If they'll come off easily, I'll take them off because they're going to be right in the way of checking out all the rust and stuff. All right. I got a couple stubborn bolts here, and out of my own stupidity, and I knew better, I was forcing these. I should have rocked them back and forth. I did have it moving, so that's I had it about a quarter turn. Is about the sweet spot for starting to rock back and forth. Put a little bit of the liquid potassium on it, the deep creep. Anyway, I'm going to work on the rest of these. I'm going to take my time. I don't want to break any more off. I know that one's in a good spot to get at. However, still, you don't want to break any more off than you have to. I like to reuse those bolts. What I do with the bolts and nuts and everything, I'll put them in my blast cabinet, aluminum oxide, and I'll clean them, take the rust off. Well, that side's off. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm down to the one last bolt there. I'm going to heat it up. So heating one bolt's not so bad. The other one came out nice. I went to the impact because I can control it a little better, set it on half percussion, and it seems to work better. Though I don't like to do it unless I've already started the bolt. So this bolt I haven't been able to start, so it's in there pretty tight. So I'll put some heat on it and we'll get back to you. All right, that's the hinges off. And like I say, I got one bolt left in there, but I'll get it out. This side's not too bad as far as rust. It starts up here, it's in here. Put my light on this thing. So we have a little bit of rust up in this area. And of course, I haven't cleaned up much, and you can see down in here. So all this will have to be fixed. Let's see what else we have along here. Not bad there. Then it gets rusty again over here. Well, there's where the mounts, if you notice from the other video, the rubber mounts, that's where they sit. So I need to get them out. So I'll probably I'll have to cut into here. This piece here, this whole section, this valance that comes out underneath the tailgate, you can see this whole thing. It's all one piece. And it might be to my benefit to just knock the spot welds out of that so I can get at the inner rust, and then I can fix this out on the table. It doesn't seem like it needs to be a lot of support on it. In here, definitely a lot of work to be done in here, and this is again double-sided. Have to work on that individually. So there we are. We've exposed more work to do, but that's okay. That's life in the fast lane. But that explains the lack of support in the rear part of the bed sides. Once that's fixed, that'll stiffen it right up. And of course, then there's always this stuff down here. There's a lot of rust to fix down around this area. But yeah, I just used the impact. I have this little impact. Let's talk about it a little bit. It is, what is this one? This is an Aircat. Now that's a dandy little impact. It's lightweight, gets into tight places. There's the number 1077TH Aircat, and it's not so strong that it'll snap your bolts off, but it's enough to give it a good wallop, like on jobs like this. So that's it. That's what I'm using there, is an Aircat. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification button. And I'll formulate a plan. Most likely, but I'm going to think about it first, is I'm going to pull that rear valance right off. I'll just undo the spot welds, because it's a good chance that under this lip, up in here somewhere in this area, it'll be rusty. And I'd really like to know what's in there. And it's hard to tell from the backside because there's a piece you've seen in the other videos, or the other video where I took the bumper off. There's another like a 90-degree tin piece that comes, or sheet metal piece that comes down So it's hard to see what's behind this. So I'm thinking this will have to come off, and it won't really, this won't interfere with the bed sides because it comes off right there, like right there. Yeah, this whole thing. But I think I'm gonna do I'll do lots of pictures of it. Maybe I'll do like Fitzy on Fitzy's fabrication. I'll do like Tony. Maybe I'll make a piece before I take it off. Might be the best. Just make a section in here. And who knows, maybe I'll be able to get this out. But I'm really concerned about getting inside this box piece. And I don't want this car, if I'm going to do this much work, I want inside there to be rust treated. So, like I said, maybe I'll follow Tony's plan, is to make a piece before you remove it, which is probably a good idea in this case. Not that complicated though. You see it on this side, it's a little better because there's more of it here. It's really just a folded piece. But you know what? You say it's only, and those just onlys get you almost every time. Anyhow, like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll get back on her when I get back on her. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.